Welcome participants. A study published in British Medical Journal says that cardiac arrest is common in critically ill COVID-19 patients. Many of the times, cardiac arrest with COVID-19 is associated with poor survival, especially in elderly population. CPR or cardiac resuscitation is a life-saving emergency procedure to revert back the cardiac arrest patient to normal. Hence, now we are going to discuss the details of safe and effective cardiac resuscitation in COVID-19 patients. Let's see the objectives for today's session. First one is to understand the importance of personal safety in current emergency scenario. Secondly, to perform safe primary assessment. Third one is to prevent the spread of further infection. Fourth one, to provide safe CPR and defibrillation in COVID-19 patient. Last but important one, to understand how can you be an effective leader in such emergency situations. Scene safety. In any CPR scenario, scene safety is an important step through which we are making sure that the receiver as well as the rescuer is safe to receive and to provide care. CPR is a highly aerosol or droplet generating procedure, and COVID-19, all of you know that, spread through this mode of transmission. Hence, the primary goal or maybe the golden rule of scene safety in COVID-19 patient CPR is all the rescuers should don all personal protective equipments. In COVID-19 cardiac arrest situations, you may come across with two kind of scenarios. One may be a well-organized hospital setup or a COVID care center. Second one is the most common one, which is very crowded, chaotic and busy emergency or maybe intensive care units or even hospital ward setups. If you are in an organized area, you can make sure the scene safety by following donning of all personal protective equipments, maintaining the infection control measures, and also letting know the other providers the COVID status of the patient, and also keep the victim on a flat and firm surface to receive the CPR. Remove the pillow if one is available. Also, limit the number of people at the scene. If you are coming across with a second case scenario, then apart from the infection control and donning of personal protective devices, your major role supposed to traffic control. Limit the number of people in the scenario only to those who are essential for the victim care. Clearly communicate the COVID-19 status to any new rescuer before they arrive to the scene. In both the situations, consider mechanical compression devices to replace manual compression of chest compression if available. Apart from that, majorly you need to make sure or maybe remember that any further proceedings or any further steps will be achieved only after ensuring the scene safety. That is very important to remember and a key point. Only after scene safety is ensured, proceed to any further steps of CPR. The second, primary assessment. This is the second step of CPR. Once the scene is safe to provide CPR, you can start primary assessment. Primary assessment has two main components. The first one is to assess the level of consciousness of the victim. Second is to confirm that the victim is undergoing cardiac arrest. To assess the consciousness level, you can follow ABPU scale, where A stands for awake. Here, the victim will be normally talking to you. V stands for verbal response, where the patient will be responding only after talking or maybe shouting by you. P stands for response only to the pain, which can be assessed by pinching on shoulder muscle. U is unresponsive victim. When a victim is not responding to any of the above actions, he or she can be considered as unresponsive. In such cases, you may need to proceed to confirming the cardiac arrest. You can confirm the cardiac arrest by cover, look and feel. To confirm the cardiac arrest, you can follow cover, look and feel. Cover means provide a mask to the patient to cover the face. Look means look for the obvious chest movements. Simultaneously feel the pulse in the neck, that is carotid artery pulse. If there is no response, like there is no obvious chest movements and you cannot able to feel the pulse, immediately you may need to call for help. Here you can utilize 108, which is a national number if you are outside the hospital setups, or if you are in hospital you can activate code blue for activating the help. Cardiac arrest is confirmed when there is no effective chest movements, no pulse and the victim is unresponsive or unconscious. Once you confirm the cardiac arrest, follow the sequence of calling for help, early CPR, early defibrillation and immediate transport of patient to a specialist hospital. This decides the chain of survival, or these actions in sequence will determine the survival of the patient. To call for help, you can dial either to 108 in case if you are outside of the hospital, or activate code blue inside the hospital setups. Once you call the help, immediately start chest compression or CPR, and also consider the early defibrillation or nothing but shock to the cardiac chest wall or maybe to the heart. After this, immediately shift the patient to a specialist hospital. These are the actions supposed to happen means immediately, one after other, so that this decides the survival of the patient. In cardiac resuscitation, there is two major important points to be remembered, or maybe these are the golden rules of effective cardiac resuscitation. The first one is effective chest compression. Second one is the early use of defibrillator or an early delivery of shock to the heart. To an effective chest compression, what are the things to be followed, or how can you tell that your chest compression is effective? Let us see what are the measures to be followed to give an effective chest compression. See that your patient is on a firm and flat surface. The depth of the compression should be 1/3 of the height of the chest wall. Allow a slow recoil after every compressions. Provide a continuous compression for 2 minutes without much interruptions, and maintain a rate of 100 compressions per minute to the adult and 120 compressions per minute for children. Reassess the victim every 2 minutes for pulse and chest movement for less than 10 seconds. The reassessment time is supposed to be less than 10 seconds. In the sense, you need to the interruptions to be less than 10 seconds from the chest compressions. To provide effective compressions, one is supposed to know that when he can or she can stop the compressions. Only in 4 situations you can stop chest compressions ideally. Those are actually after every 2 minutes while reassessing the pulse or chest movements. Also remember that the reassessment time supposed to be less than 10 seconds. Second situation when you can stop the chest compression is when your defibrillator or the machine which is delivering the shock is assessing the cardiac activity. Third situation to stop the chest compression is when the defibrillator is delivering the electric shock to the patient. Lastly, when the patient regained the consciousness or while reassessing you felt the carotid pulse or the patient is pushing you away in the situations, you can actually stop your chest compression. By now, already we have seen the measures of effective chest compression as well as in which all situation we can stop the chest compression. Let's continue, and I just want to add few more points in adult CPR. Those are actually first and foremost, see that the face of the patient is covered with a mask. Secondly, the compression rate, as I told earlier, it's supposed to be more than 100 compressions per minute. Okay, and the technique of compression is that heel of the dominant hand should be placed in a midline on the lower half of the breastbone or sternum, and your non-dominant hand should be used to lock the dominant hand on the top of the dominant hand. Okay, see that your arms are straight, the elbows are locked, and the shoulder is just above the heel of the dominant hand or maybe to be aligned to the patient's midline. And apart from that, extend your back and start CPR. This is the way, the technique of keeping the hand. That's also very important here. Heel of the dominant hand in midline on the lower half of the sternum. The non-dominant hand is to lock the dominant hand. Straight arm, elbows are locked and the shoulders are in plane with the heel of the dominant hand. Okay, and also see that each chest compression cycle is supposed to be continuous for 2 minutes. At the 2 minutes, to reassess the patient, you can stop it for less than 10 seconds. So it's supposed to be a continuous cycle for 2 minutes. That gives you an effective chest compression in the patient. In case of children, when you are coming across with a child who is unconscious with a heart rate less than 60, immediately you may need to start with a CPR. See that as like in the adult, the face of the infant should be covered with a mask, and also the compression depth supposed to be 1/3 of the height of the chest wall. But apart from that, what is the difference here is actually the rate of compression supposed to be 120 compressions per minute, whereas in the adult it was 100 compressions per minute. Okay, to provide CPR to an infant, you can use both of your hand as like in the picture. Okay, you can cover it and use your thumb, both thumb to compress the chest wall, or else you can keep the baby in a flat surface, support the head with a non-dominant hand and use 2 fingers, that is index and middle finger of the dominant hand to compress the chest. You can have a look on the both pictures which will give you an idea how to give compressions in children or maybe in infants. Okay, we have already looked into the details of effective chest compression. The second major thing in the cardiac resuscitation was early defibrillation that can be provided by automated external defibrillator in case of outside hospital setups. This is called as AED in short form. Here the usage of AED is very simple. You may need to on the AED machine near to the patient, and thereafter the machine will instruct you to proceed further, and the machine will be checking the cardiac rhythms or maybe the cardiac activity, and if it is able to provide the shock, like it is required to provide shock in the sense the machine will provide the shock to the patient. And also one important point to remember over here, while assessing the rhythm by the defibrillator, you shouldn't give the chest compression, as well as while delivering the shock also you shouldn't touch the patient or should not do chest compressions. One important golden rule you may need to keep in your mind that always see that early shock helps the patient for survival. This increases the chances of survival. Every 1 minute delay in compression or defibrillation reduces the patient's chance of survival by 10%. Once again, every 1 minute delay in effective chest compression and defibrillation reduces the patient's chance of survival up to 10%. So, early compression and early defibrillation are the important determinants which decides the survival of every cardiac patient. Dear participants, by now you all know each steps of cardiac resuscitation in detail. Now let us put this together and see how it works. Imagine you are alone at the side of a cardiac arrest victim, and how do you proceed? The first step of cardiac arrest resuscitation is scene safety and infection control. For scene safety, you know that you may need to wear PPE, maintain the infection control measures, limit the number of people to the scenario. Once you achieved these scene safety measures, you can move into the second step. That's nothing but primary assessment. In the primary assessment, you will be assessing the patient for responsiveness as well as to confirm the cardiac arrest situation. Okay, once you confirm the patient is in cardiac arrest, call for help by dialing 108, or if you are in the hospital, activate code blue for help. Okay, once you have activated the help, then you can start the chest compressions. Remember the measures of effective chest compressions. The chest compression is supposed to be more than 100 compressions per minute in adult and 120 compressions per minute in infants. And it's supposed to be a continuous compression for 2 minutes. Only reassessment can happen at every 2 minutes, and also do not interrupt the chest compressions unnecessarily, and also the placement of the hand is very important. It's supposed to be lower half of the sternum, dominant hand to be used. The depth of the compression is supposed to be 1/3 of the height of the chest wall, and also for the reassessment you need to spare only less than 10 seconds, and also importantly you may need to connect the AED at the earliest to the patient when it is available. Now you know how to initiate and proceed with cardiac resuscitation if you are alone at victim side. Let us see how to provide CPR to a cardiac arrest victim when there is 2 rescuers are available. Among those 2 rescuers, one can assume the role of a leader. Leader then makes sure that the scene safety is ensured by putting on the face mask for both the rescuers as well as the patient, or if the PPE is available, to be donned. Infection control measures also to be taken care. Once the scene is safe to perform CPR, leader can proceed to second step of CPR, that is primary assessment, and confirm about the cardiac arrest status of the patient. After confirming the cardiac arrest, without any delay, leader can start the chest compressions. Meanwhile, the second rescuer can start calling for help and arranging an AED to provide shock to the patient. To call for help, rescuer can utilize the national emergency number, that is 108. After calling for help, the second rescuer can come back to the scene and be ready to take over the chest compression from the first rescuer or the leader. The swapping of the chest compression provider role can happen at end of the 2 minutes or whenever the leader or the provider is tired and not giving effective compression. Once again, a quick review we can have about the effective resuscitation. The first thing here is making sure about the scene safety. Then without delay, calling for help and arranging an AED. Then look into effective chest compression. The chest compression is supposed to be at the rate of 100 compressions per minute. They are supposed to be slow recoil. Depth of the compression should be 1/3 of the height of the chest wall, and even concentrate on the hand position and alignment of the hand. Then also there is supposed to be an early provision of defibrillator at the victim side, and early shock will always help for the better survival of the cardiac arrest victim. Now we come to the end of the session on cardiac resuscitation. The take home messages are: scene safety is crucial at the current unprecedented situation. Scene safety should make sure about the reduction of spread of droplet particles. This can be achieved through donning personal protective equipments, facial mask for both providers as well as the patient, other infection control measures, and limiting the number of people in the scenario. Second take home message is early and effective chest compression. That's one of the major component of effective resuscitation. Lastly, early provision of defibrillation will improve the chance of survival of the cardiac victim. Hope you have enjoyed this session, and thank you to all of you for your patient listening.